All right, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is when you get around to watching this. I'm pretty excited to be participating for the first time in DEF CON. I really wish, obviously, I could be there in person. It would be far easier to present this if I was able to see people face to face, and you would see, my passion and excitement. I'm sure you might not hear it in my voice, but this is a project that I have been working on for about the beginning of the year, maybe even into last year, and that is DragonOS Focal. Like I said, my name's Aaron. It's DEF CON 2020 safe mode. So we'll go down through here. I've got just a few slides, and then we'll go right into just kind of showing you what DragonOS is. Background on it. I, personally was working on some tools right prior to COVID-19 to try to aid in teaching software-defined radios, SDRs. So, I had kind of that going for me. And then a couple projects way back, 2008, 9 or so. I built everything that was AWDMESH. Some of you may be familiar with OpenMesh back then when they had the OM1P. So I was kind of on my own using some open source and the router station. Everyone probably had one at one point or another, and built OpenMesh with a few other people there. Sold the stuff all over the world, dual radio mesh equipment. So, and then about that same time, I was pretty active in the ZoneMinder forums for some reason or another, and I just noticed that people have a lot of problems with compiling things and building ZoneMinder from source. So I thought, well, why not use remastersys and help people out and get it all pre-built and working. So kind of take those two things, and it got me thinking about doing another distribution. And then, of course, COVID-19 hit really big, and a lot of people stuck at home. So I thought, well, why not take my little project, take it to the next level, get it out there, to the public, so people could install, have something fairly new in terms of software, free, and get into software-defined radios while they were stuck at home. Put that, out to the public. A lot of people were interested in it. RTLSDR.com and Hackaday did, a few articles here. I just copied and pasted one article that you can see was dated back March 24, 2020. Talks a little bit about the project. So, if you look online, you'll find a lot more articles. But the progress I've made, I started with Debian Buster, just called it DragonOS 10. That was actually, Debian's probably my favorite. Had a lot of tools in there. You can find that on SourceForge. I just got to a point where I wanted to be able to support disk encryption and UEFI, so I moved on to Ubuntu 18.04. Called that DragonOS LTS. That was the bulk of my time was spent making that. I think I've made the most videos on that. And I guess I should point out too, I tried to keep all distributions, even though, went from Debian to Ubuntu. I tried to keep as close as possible I could with the tools and applications that were installed. So, for the most part, any of the videos, I label should apply to any of the builds, hopefully. Well, anyways, so now I'm on to Ubuntu 20.04, and I just called that DragonOS Focal. So, yeah, the goal, I spend, I don't even know how many hours, all these, countless amount of hours pre-installing anything I could possibly find that would be of interest to people that are into software-defined radios. That could be from repositories, deb packages, source, so on and so forth. And I try to combine it all and spend and just be meticulous about everything working together. So, from remastering it to installing it to testing the whole installation to checking every possible software-defined radio I can with it, or at least that I've owned or have been donated. I have B205 here, USRP radio, RTL SDR, Blade RF, some SDR Play equipment. The SDR Play people were extremely helpful in sending me some equipment out. That's been really awesome. Ubertooth from Hackers Warehouse, they were really nice, sent some equipment out. And then as I kind of go through, I'll point out, I'll say thanks to a lot of people that have helped just with input and kind of behind the scenes discussion on what software is out there and what to include. All right, so let's get out of the slides here. And I try to do everything within DragonOS, which is running right now. My latest build, which is I was going to put out in conjunction with this. I just kept it still a beta build, DragonOS Focal public beta 3. That's what's running this right now. I have to admit I was not familiar with OBS and making videos like this, so hopefully it comes out okay. So we'll get down off the slides here. This is DragonOS. I know it doesn't look like much. You're just looking at the desktop here, but this is running live from a USB stick. I've made it as easy as I can. You can see there's a little icon on the desktop. I've actually already ran through the installer, but I will show how easy it is to get it to install. You'll just come through here, answer a few questions. I'll just uncheck this for now just so that it's not hanging here and you all are staring at this screen while it's loading. So yeah, okay, so it's not gonna, I'm not gonna make this video over again, but just trust me, I've already ran through the installer and it finished. Normally you would reboot. That's why you see that error pop up there. Anyways, I'll just let that run in the background. That was kind of to show you how easy it is to install. I guess lesson learned. Don't run it twice within the same as it's running live, but it's kind of hard with it. I have everything set up to make this video. So anyways, one of the big things, I'll just go right down the list I wanted to demonstrate here so you can get an understanding of like why is this any different than any other distribution. You got Kali out there for your offensive security or pen testing. I just tried to make this distribution all about software-defined radios. So base Ubuntu system with everything installed on top of it. One, I'll point right out at the front, I've actually got it running here, SIGDigger. That I've put in here, built from source. Find this program really great. The developer has been super awesome. I know he was trying to help me out to have a TV decoder, I guess you'd say, with sync and everything ready for this. But I think you all will see that here in the real near future. So keep an eye on that. But what I'll show you is a SIGDigger running using the B205 Mini that I have here. And if you happen to have, so I have a 5 gigahertz antenna on it. I've got a 5 gigahertz FPV cam sitting here. So if you open up your sample rate and your bandwidth, you should be able to do what I'm doing here, which is, we'll look at this in the spectrum. I've got my window open as far as I can here. I've got an inspection tab open here, and then I've got an FSK Inspector. So that's another thing. When I make these videos, I try to go through and get people interested in what these different acronyms, FSK, means, and I don't explain everything, but I hope I generate enough interest where people will go out and do some more research. So I've opened up the FSK Inspector here, and you'll see where I've paused before the video, so you know what's coming here. Let's just open this up the whole way here. Actually, let's close out of this. We'll open another inspector. You would bump up your bits per tone and start the clock recovery. I come up here, I left click and drag and open this aperture up here, release, uncheck fit to window and click record, and come down to about the, let's see, 550 or so, and you should see where left off here. And this is live. This is capturing this live. I had hoped to literally just record the whole video like this, but not you know, in such a way that I'd give everyone a seizure or something. So I felt that was really unique, very powerful signal analysis tool, and that just shows you that's literally out of the box. It's running live. You don't have to use a B205. I've actually did this with a HackRF. So yeah, you know, as long as you can get in the 5 gigahertz range, you should be fine. I'm sure I could probably do it with some of the Blade RS that go up that far. This is a Blade RF Micro XA4, I think it is. So yeah, that just shows you that's really not the primary feature of this or of that window, that symbol stream window. It just happens to be able to do that. So I'm sure if you pause, you'll see me, and yeah. So let's see. Anyways, I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to change out a couple things here. What I want to show is we'll open up a few terminal windows here. I'll do this as quick as I can here. This is just to show you something else that is on here and running out of the box. I grab a few cellular antennas here, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with SRS LTE. I had a big interest in getting LTE and GSM actually as well, running out of the box. I know there's a lot of interest in that. Obviously, you got to have shielding and stuff when you're transmitting any of this, so I just recommend be careful when you're doing any of what I'm showing here. But let me see, SRS. So this just shows you how fast we can get up and running. We'd want to start our core networking, our EPC here. Let's see, we can bring that online. We would do our EMB. And for this, I found that it will use the EDIS by default. But these two commands, starting up the core network and then starting up your EMB, and that failure you see there, that's SOAPy for SDR play. What I have done is when you run the installer, that's another thing I guess that makes this unique, but you run the installer and then you reboot, you're going to be presented with a little pop-up that will prompt you to install the SDR play. So that'll happen. Your user will be added to Kismet, so everything just kind of works out of the box. I know I keep saying that. So these two commands here, I'd have to, you know, of course this happens right when I do the presentation, but let's see. With those two there, you can be up and broadcasting your BTS, or well, your base station, basically. If you had a second laptop and another EDIS or a Blade RF, which I have demonstrated in some of the YouTube videos, you can use a virtual handset through that radio to connect. So yeah, that's how easy that is. That's all, you know, pre-configured and working. You can do the same in my latest build with GSM now. So I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with Osmocom here. I've got the HLR, the BTS, the BSC, and the transmitting all in here. So you should be able to get a GSM base station up and working pretty quick if you have a EDIS. So if we start up our BSC and we start up our and then if I start up my might be a that's Apple C, and so now you see, now we've got our base station online. I know there's an error here, but let's see. All right, there we go. So you can this is actually something I'll address in the next build, but that's actually a pretty common thing and explained on EDIS how to get around setting the thread priority. All right, so there's three things right out of the box: a way to decode 5 gigahertz video, the LTE network, GSM network. Something else that I do is I keep everything that I install from source or not a packaged installation. I keep it all here in the actual build when you finish installing it, so that you have all of the source that you need to make any changes or uninstall anything that you may want to remove. Let's see, I'll show another example here. So GNU Radio 3.8 is in here. If we take a look at let's just take a look at GRRDS. You'll see right there you got ADSB, DEC2, and I've checked all of this. GSM in GNU Radio 3.8 works perfectly fine with the mzcatcher script. You got Iridium there. I'm not super familiar with satellites, but I've included that. GR Tempest, I checked that and actually got that working with some SDR play equipment and was able to view a monitor without having to use the Tempest SDR, which I know a lot of people use. So if you want to get into GNU Radio, which I recommend, you can take a look at one of the examples here, real easy one. And again, I really feel like a benefit of this distribution is you can run it live if you don't want to install it. There may be some things that may have some issues running live, but for the most part, it works pretty well. So this is GNU Radio. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this. So again, right out of the box. You got your RDS on there. You've got your gain settings. So I have tried to go, or I have went through every application you can possibly think of on here. SDR trunk, airband, retrogram, everything. I have spent a lot of time making this work. So I know I said that I'd thank some people here. I'm trying to think what else can I open up and show before I close this out. Just run down the list here. You see under internet, you got GQRX, SDR Angel. I just recently built SDR Angel with SOAPy support, so now I can't not show SDR play equipment in this video, considering how much help that they have given. So this is a RSP1 Alpha and SDR Angel. See here, so now we can use our SDR play equipment. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Since we're running live, I'm going to fix this real quick. See, there's always something. Because I haven't installed and rebooted, my script didn't take place. So I just, when you're running live, you would have to actually install the API. So now we should be able to come back here, open up our SDR Angel. Now, fingers crossed, we have our RSP1 Alpha. You can add a well, anything. You can do DMR, DSD demodulators, DATV, all sorts of options here. Oops. There we go. See, doesn't that get awkward when you're doing something live and then it doesn't work like you expect? Okay. Threw me off there a second. So that's SDR play equipment in SDR Angel now. Oops. There we go. Okay, so you gotta obviously adjust the gain correctly there. So that's SDR Angel. Same thing if you come down the list here. We've got Cubic SDR, Cubic SDR with SDR Play support. Q Spectrum Analyzer, really good to use with the HackRF. If you want to do some replay, capture and replay attacks. You got Universal Radio Hacker. That also, yeah, actually I should have put SDR Play support next to there, which I believe it no, actually that does not have SDR Play support yet. That's still being worked on. Let's see what else. We've got Spike, which is the gentleman by the name of Rick, who suggested I do this video. Is a big fan of that equipment, that program. Let's see what else, and then really anything else that's sitting in the that is not installed with a nice, easy to click GUI you can run from here, and you can kind of get an idea there. So Sparrow Wi-Fi, matter of fact, I know a lot of people are familiar with Kismet. I suggest taking a look at Sparrow Wi-Fi too. They've got some nice integration there with the HackRF and Ubertooth. I don't actually have my HackRF right now, but what you can do with Sparrow Wi-Fi is overlay the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz spectrum over top of your wireless NIC card that would run up in the top here, and of course do similar to Kismet, but really not do the full packet capture and getting the clients and stuff. You'd see the access points, and so not to give away all my access points here. I'll just kind of show you the spectrum analyzer with the Ubertooth that's plugged in here. So thank you to Hacker Warehouse for that, to let me check that. All right, let's see. So I think that's enough kind of programs. I hit on a lot of the big stuff. Proof of concept on smart cell phone jamming, signal analysis, spy server, everything you could think of. I've tried to cover here and educate. So, all right, I think that about wraps it up. If you need to find the project, you can just Google DragonOS. You can do Focal if you want. That's the latest. You'll come find it on SourceForge. You got your files, and you'll get your latest there. So, yeah, I appreciate everyone kind of listening up to this point, and just want to say, thank you to developer of SigDigger, the SDR Play equipment, Hackers Warehouse. I'm drawing a blank right now, but there's been so many. Everyone on YouTube that has provided suggestions or emailed me kind of behind the scenes. I appreciate it. I hope that this has been helpful during COVID-19. I know that a lot of people have been stuck at home, so I just wanted to try and do what I could to help others. So, all right. Thanks.